Welcome to this Sunday's Brunch Dharma, 31st of May. The Buddha said that categorically many times that what he teaches is suffering and the end of suffering. So when he teaches an end of suffering, he must have taught us a path towards the end. And this path is the transcendental dependent origination. I'm only going to talk about the important bits of the transcendent path, the bits where you have to work with. Now, you have to start with samadhi, which is concentration and mindfulness. Developing samadhi, developing concentration and mindfulness. What level of concentration and mindfulness develop concentration and mindfulness that you need? If you can reach the fourth jhana, that's even better. Your insight is keener. After the practice of samatha meditation or calm meditation relates to concentration, deep concentration and mindfulness, then you have to engage in anupassana, that is contemplation. And what do you contemplate? You just have to contemplate dependent origination and five khandhas. What do you do with the five khandhas? See the three characteristics in these five khandhas. That's it. That's the whole path. Develop your meditation up to jhana levels and then contemplate dependent origination and the three characteristics. I've explained how you look at dependent origination already. Now I'm going to talk about how you contemplate the five khandhas. Well, because in the transcendent path, after the concentration practice, after the samatha practice, when you contemplate on the five khandhas, you reach a state called yatha bhuta nyanya dasana, which is seeing things as they are. Now, seeing things as they are has samadhi as support. The next stage after seeing things as they are, you come to a state called nibbida. Nibbida is disenchantment. Now, nibbida has has yatha bhuta nyanya dasana as support. Disenchantment has seeing things as they are as support. After you reach the stage of disenchantment, the next stage is viraga, dispassion. And dispassion needs disenchantment as support. After viraga is vimutti, liberation. Liberation needs dispassion, viraga as support. And after vimutti comes asava kayena, destruction of the asava. And that needs liberation, vimutti, as support. Now you cannot get from one state to the other without those support. So your very basic support is samadhi. Once you get to this level of samadhi, equivalent to at least the first jhana, then you can progress on to seeing things as they are, disenchantment, dispassion, liberation, and then knowledge of that liberation, knowledge of the defilements that you've destroyed. Seems very obvious, isn't it? And that's the way it goes. So we have to develop meditation to that level. Now when we develop meditation, we are also aware of the state of our body and our mind, particularly our mind. When we sit down and do our meditation, hours and hours of meditation, and what we notice is that the mind is forever changing. It's restless. It's never still. You're lucky if it's still for some time, or you put in effort, and it's still for 20 minutes or something, and then it changes again. So every time when you do your meditation, you want to reflect on this state of the mind. Once you reflect on this state of the mind, you are reflecting on the feeling, reflecting on the perception, things you see in the mind, images, lights, whatever, changing, perception. And everybody, without doing meditation, there are always thoughts changing in your mind. And then when you do your meditation, you try to reach a level of consciousness, a peaceful consciousness. But you find that you always have a disturbing consciousness, something like contracted consciousness, or expanded consciousness. So you want to reflect on this, seeing it every time you finish your meditation. When you do that, then your heart comes to know about this anicca aspect of these four khandhas. Your heart comes to see every day that your feelings, perception, thought, and consciousness are constantly changing. So by doing your meditation, you are also developing the insight into these four khandhas. Now we have to work on the rupa khandha separately. We have to contemplate. And what we do contemplate is the 32 parts of the body. Because that's the one that's causing a lot of problems. We either worry about our body, we get attached to our body, or we get attached to some other people's body. So we have to work with the body to see what it is. See the body as they are. Right? And the way to break down the idea of the body is to see its parts, not the whole body. Just like when you're seeing a car, you see, oh, that's a nice car, you see the shape, right? But when you start looking at a car and see, oh yeah, it's made out of engine, what engine it is, steering wheel, and then you have the wheel, then you begin to see, that this car is made up of all these parts. And these parts are neither really beautiful or ugly. And this part doesn't last, So it's the same with the body. You want to look at the body. so that we can take out the shape, or even the concept of the body, and know it is just a combination of parts. And they are just parts. They don't last like any part. You can get new spare parts, nowadays for it, Maybe even bionic spare parts, But they are all spare parts. They are parts of the body. And because we have this attachment to the body, we have to see the ugliness of the body. We have to balance it, because we have this delusion about the attractiveness of the body. So we have to see the ugliness, and that's a very important practice, so that we don't get attached to it. It's not only bodies we get attached to its beauty. It could be painting, it could be antiques, whatever. But because the body, attachment to the body creates a lot of feeling, creates lust, it creates hate. I don't like my body, I don't like my eyes, I don't like my nose, or whatever parts of your body you don't like. It creates aversion, right? So you want to have a look at the body and see its universality, right? That means it's made of bones, flesh, right? And the most universal are the four great elements. You can see in terms of the body made up of molecules. So whatever you use to be able to break down the idea of the body as being solid, permanent, that will lead you to see anicca. Well, it is important to see the anicca aspect of the body, because through the anicca aspect, only can you see the anatta aspect, that there isn't a permanent self. There are two ways. In the other way, you see that the body is suffering, because it is breaking down all the time, because it is changing all the time. Then you see this dukkha side. You have to see in the practice, you have to see all these three aspects. But you don't have to see them equally strong, right? You may tend towards seeing the anicca aspect of the body, or you may tend towards seeing the anatta aspect of the body. So whichever aspect that you see strongest, that's the gateway in which you break through. So the first thing is to see body and mind, right? Body is just made up of parts, and all those parts are made up of all great elements, molecules, whatever it is. It's inconstant. And you can see the state of your feeling, your perceptions, your thinking, and your consciousness. You want the heart to know that all these things are changing all the time, so there cannot exist a permanent self in there, nor can you take it as a permanent self. It is not mere understanding, it's letting the heart see it. Heart knows about it, then it knows there cannot be a permanent self. When you are able to see this anicca aspect, the anatta aspect, then up to a particular level, then you can make a breakthrough. Very few people can make a breakthrough to the dukkha level, dukkha aspect. Now you make your first breakthrough as a sotapanna when you see that there's no permanent self in any of these 5 khandha. You cannot make a breakthrough by having absolute faith in the Buddha. You cannot break through by refraining from rites and ritual. Because when you become a sotapanna, those are the 3 things, 3 defilements that you have to let go. The view of self, belief in rites and ritual that you can get that to become a sotapanna, and you have a strong faith in the Buddha. Now the belief in rites and rituals is a result. It is a result because by the time you reach that state, you become a sotapanna, you know that there's no other way of getting to that state other than practice of anupassana, that's contemplation on the 5 khandhas. And when you reach that state, you see in yourself the state of mind, the purity of your mind. Just a little bit of purity of your mind. And the quality of your mind. Then you can associate the qualities that you have with the qualities of the Buddha. It's something you've never seen before. It's only when you see this, then you know Buddha exists. That's just a glimpse of the Buddha. So to make a breakthrough, you have to see the anicca and anatta aspect of all the 5 khandhas. But you have to work with the rupa khandha. In the forest tradition, we work with the body in the very beginning, at the beginning stage, because that is where the strongest attachment is. So from a sotapanna, you're working towards the sakadagami, you have to see 2 things. You have to work with 2 things. And that's hate and lust. And when you reach the state of sakadagami, you have to work with craving for anything, craving for anything in this world. And usually work with feelings. It is through feelings that you crave for something. But the work on the body continues when you are in the sakadagami stage. The work also continues when you are at the anagami stage. It is only at the level of the anagami state that the contemplation of the body is almost complete. What's left is the shape of the body, shape of eyes, that's left. So that's the material you have to work on. As far as the progress is concerned, you follow the progress of the transcendent path. That means at every stage you're working on, when you start off, originally you want to get to see things as they are, and then get to a state of disenchantment. Disenchantment could mean a disgust or fear, those kind of feelings sometimes associated with disenchantment. And then after disenchantment, then you come to the stage of dispassion. So only when you get to this state of dispassion, you're not passionate about this state, you're not adverse to it, nor are you attached to it. Then you come to a state of liberation. It depends. Liberation needs dispassion as support. So when you have that liberation of this self-view, then only can you review and know exactly that you have given up self-view. Rites and ritual will not get you to where you are, and you have absolute faith in the Buddha. So you have destroyed doubts about the Buddha, even the slightest doubt. You destroy the idea, the rites and ritual can take you along the path, and you destroy the view of self. So at each path, at each stage, you go through these 4 stages. Seeing things as they are, disenchantment, dispassion, liberation, and finally, seeing the destruction of the asava. So when you are in a state of Sakadagami, you go through this stage. And at the end, when you see the destruction of the asavas, then you know you have completed the state. Same stages again when you're in an anagami state. You've got to go through all. So at the beginning of every stage, you must see things as they are. You see it clearly. You come to a stage of disenchantment, then you go through the stage of dispassion, then you have the liberation. And after the liberation, then you have the review of what you have accomplished. As far as how much Dhamma you need to know, that is all you need to know. But you need to know all dependent origination clearly. You need to see the 5 khandhas clearly. Those are the things that you have to work on, that's all. You don't need anything else. Right? Okay, I've explained how you practice to get to the transcendent path. Have merit by listening to this Dharma. You straighten your views, more merit, and with practice you get more merit. So with the merit you have accumulated, you want to transfer it to your departed relatives and get bonus merit. So I'm going to chant transference of merit and then you transfer your merit to your departed relatives, support them. Yatha varivaha pura pare purenti sagaram eva ito dinam petalam upakapati ichitam patitam tumham kipam niva sami chatu sape purenti sankapa chandu panaraso yatha manijoti raso yatha Sapitiyo vivajantu saparogo vinasatu mate pavanvantarayo sukidikayuko bhava apivatanasili sanicam buddha pacayino catharo dhamma vadanti ayuvano sukhang Balang bhavatu sabba mangalang akhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanupavena satha soti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhamma Nupavena satha soti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang akhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanu pavena satha soti Pava